Today's talk is called Unsung Heroes. But first, a joke. What do you call a parade of rabbits hopping backwards? A receding hairline. All right. Today's talk, Unsung Heroes. That's perfect that Ash, and I didn't know that Ash was going to talk on appreciation today, but it was perfect that she did because I wanted to talk about how appreciation becomes easier when we know and see what somebody's doing that we can appreciate. But a lot of times what's happening is behind the scenes. We don't see it. It's not before our eyes. And so we don't actually know the impact somebody's having on us that may be really incredible, and that if it was brought forth and visible, of course you'd appreciate it. Now, I say, of course you'd appreciate it, and I know for myself that I don't always show all the appreciation that I'd like because I'm so darn busy just doing the next thing I'm doing. And maybe that's true for you too. I mean, maybe not. Maybe you're not a super busy person who is so busy and focused on what it is you're doing that sometimes you forget to appreciate or don't think you have the time to appreciate those around you that could really use your appreciation. So I thought, this being my second to last week here, I wanted to spend some time bringing forth that which you may not see. Now, all of you know that Michael is our board president. And you see him up there sometimes on Sundays, saying, hey, I'm the board president, I'm doing the announcements for today. And then you know he runs the board meetings because he's the board president. But here's some things you may not know. That from day one of when I showed up, Michael was there. I mean, him and I were almost talking in the beginning every single day. And so for those of you who don't know this, my first day as your minister, I got a call from the Burbank Power and Water Company saying they were coming to shut us off because we owed them $5,000. 2 days later, I got a call from Spectrum saying they were shutting off our phones because we owed them $1,500. There was a financial crisis that would have closed the doors of Spirit Works almost 4 years ago, if not for the brilliance of people like Michael and Ginny stepping in and doing the work they did with me to decide where we were cutting costs and where we were moving forward to make this all work so that Spirit Works can continue. Whenever there was an upgrade in the building, Michael was the one who showed up. I mean, I didn't get up on the when we redid the lights, I didn't get up on that ladder and go up into those heights. I stood at the ground saying, hey, Michael, move this. Move it a little bit more to the left. No, a little bit more. No, move it back a little bit. As Michael's up there precariously moving our lights around. I'm not the one who ran the new wires so that we could have better cameras in the sanctuary. Michael was the one who got up into the ceiling, which was a yucky mess, and ran those wires as I stood on the ground going, hey, Michael, a little bit more this way, a little bit more that way. And so you may see him, when he got up and sang on Sundays, when he did the presentations, reminded you all that he was the board president, but he was the guy who week in and week out showed up to work with me to make sure that all the technology, all the audio, all the video, or anything else that needed to work when it came to physical labor, Michael was the one who made sure that when you showed up on Sundays, you had a good experience. Ginny, who we will be praying on today during our prayer time because she's in the hospital, has been our treasurer since day one I showed up. And Ginny was the one who every time I thought we ought to spend money on something and she didn't agree with it, was strong enough to say, hey, I disagree with that. She has been an extraordinary steward of your money that you have given week in and week out. Now, you may not realize that because you see her on Sundays, once again, being a practitioner, get up. But behind the scenes, she has made sure that every penny that has been put in since I have showed up has been spent well on your behalf. Now, there's going to be folks I don't get to here in this talk today. But the next one I want to talk about is my wife, because there's so many things that you don't know that goes on here. First off, being a minister's wife is so hard and can be so difficult that they actually offer a class to be helpful at Holmes Institute to help wives. My last wife, when I told her I wanted to become a minister, she said, that's the last straw, I want a divorce. Because she didn't even want, she knew and didn't want anything to do with that position. The hardest part about being a minister's wife is the expectations that a congregation places on her. And so what happens is everything she does for the good of a center, everybody expects, so doesn't appreciate. And if she doesn't do something, everybody's disappointed. So a minister's wife gets all the disappointment and very little of the appreciation because of the expectations. Now, behind the scenes, she has been on the board, helped make decisions. She has been the assistant music director for at least the last 2.5 years of putting together the music that then our band has performed. Now, you guys have got to see her perform on Sundays, but you don't know all the work she's done behind the scenes to make sure that those Sundays run smoothly, getting the charts to Josu or whoever the music director has been, finding the songs that fit our teaching so that what we're performing actually works in line with what we want to. This is all time that she volunteered to do for you, for this congregation. She has been an advocate for all of you with me when I have been like, maybe we should be doing something different. She has always stood for your good to make sure that I stayed in line. I'm good, very good at certain things, but there are other things I'm not so good at. And when I have responded in a way to somebody that wasn't all that ministerial, it was my wife who jumped in and said, hey, you need to clean that up. She's the one who's helped keep me on course. And I got to tell you, that is not such an easy thing to do. I am not an easy ship to navigate. So she is the one who has been there, who has put, now here's the other thing. Michael Ginny, and Ash. One of the things we did besides the board was put together a marketing team, put together a team that met once a week and Matt was on that for a little bit and some others, but the three that were there the whole time were four. Oh, Trish was there. Trish was there for that. And Ash and Michael and Ginny showed up for this group where we brainstormed week in and week out what we could do to grow our congregation, and then executed those things to the best of our abilities and had some success at that. There were times when Michael, Ginny, Ash, and Trish were showing up at the center 3-4 times a week, volunteering their time for all the time I have been here. Al Sid has, besides being one of our biggest contributors, in case you guys didn't know that, has come up with ways of volunteering at the center that were in his, wasn't my idea. Wasn't something like he would brainstorm with himself, go, what can I do? What can I do to support this center? And so he started the noon meditation, where he was doing sound and meditation, and people were showing up to that who weren't even showing up on Sundays. It's really important that I bring this forth to you guys, because so much about running a center runs behind the scenes. Now, in any church, in any center, 80% of the people simply show up on Sundays, and that's expected. But what I want you all to know is that 20%, and in our case, maybe even 10%. Oh, yeah, that's true. Ash just brought forth the bread making on Sunday that Al Sid did. Oh my God, that bread was delicious. And there was the whole kitchen team who went down week in and week out, so that the rest of us after service could go down there and have something to eat and have it all set up for us. So all we did is walk in and eat. It's just amazing how people volunteer to have a center function. And I bring this forth as this is my second to last week, because I want you all to know that whoever your next minister is, if they have a spouse, treat her well or him well. Take care of the spouse. They need it. They have the hardest job at the center. The hardest job at the center is not the senior minister. It's the senior minister's partner. They have the hardest job. Anybody in ministry will tell you that. Take care of your board, because they work hard for you and they need your support. Take care of those who work in the kitchen. They need your appreciation. They get very little of it. What makes a thriving center is exactly what Ash was talking about in her sacred space moment. Appreciation. Thriving centers show those who do the work appreciation. And if you don't know who does the work, find out, how did that get done? Because somebody did it. And if you don't know how it got done, it wasn't you. And they need your appreciation. I know this center goes on to thrive. I know that this center goes on for greatness, but I also know that it takes an incredibly large amount of appreciation. When somebody gets up on Sunday and sings, make sure you tell them, don't just sit there and clap politely and then go eat. Make sure you take the time to tell them. When the minister does a great talk or even a good talk, if you want that minister to feel good about being your minister, make sure you tell him, really appreciated the talk. The board, I really appreciate that you're doing a job that I'm not willing to do, because not everybody wants to be on the board. They deserve your appreciation. And when a center takes the time to show it, that's how that center thrives. The teachers, anybody who's teaching a class, tell them how much you appreciate them teaching those classes, because they're the ones doing it. They're the ones leading your way to a deeper understanding and practice of science of mind. I'm sure I've missed some things, but my main point is do your best to not miss those things, to look around, to actually show up on Sunday and go, who can I appreciate today? It won't be all that long, maybe a few months, maybe a little longer, before you guys start meeting live again. Look around who made that happen. Who found the place you guys meet at? Because there's a committee right now who's looking for a place. There's a search committee looking for your new minister. There are people who are volunteering their time, because they're not paid to do it, to bring forth your next incarnation of Spirit Works. Make sure you show them the appreciation for it. And obviously the musicians, Ozu and Abe and any other musicians who come on board, when people are playing music for you guys, take the time to walk up to them and say, I really appreciate your doing that, because I promise you they are underpaid. And so it's your appreciation that matters most, because they're not getting paid enough to do this. And the singers have always been volunteers. So make sure that you take the time to walk up to the stage and say, thank you for singing today. Even if you don't love the song or you didn't love it, you just thank them, because they volunteered their time. They came to a practice, they spent time learning that song. It was time that they spent so that you could hear music. Appreciation is everything. And the more a center is, and the people of a center are good at doing that, that is a clear sign of a center thriving. When you have people who feel underappreciated at your center, that is a clear sign that your center is not thriving. So even if you're somebody who just shows up on Sunday, send a note, an email, something to the people who took the time to put this service on for you, so that you had a place to go on Sunday and could appreciate what it is you heard. And that is my talk for you today. Thank you.